Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner. Today I have with me one of my really good friends, Coach Abe. What is up, my friend?
Oh, we're doing it, girl. I had a great morning. I'm super excited about being on the podcast with you and sharing some goodness.
Yeah, you are all about everything good and well and aligned, and you live in it too. So I can't wait for people to hear your story. I always start with why dentistry for you? Like, how'd you end up in dentistry?
Oh man. I don't think I had a choice, Kelly. I was dead in the water from the get-go. I remember my dad started making Fixer and Developer back in like 85. Okay. Some people on your podcast might be like, what is Fixer and Developer, Kelly? I don't know what that is. But that's how long ago. I was like probably 7 or 8 years old. And so I've been in it for a long time. My dad sold dental equipment and supplies. My grandmother was a dental assistant and taught in a local community college in Springfield, Missouri. And I grew up and married a dentist. So she owns a practice. I manage it in the day-to-day. So. Yeah,
there was no way of getting out of that.
No,
it literally hunted you down and said, you're mine.
Sometimes the universe is like, you need to learn something. And you're like, I don't really want to learn that right now. And then other times it's like, no, I'm not giving you a choice. You're doing this. You're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah. Then it's like, I should have done it a long time ago once that happens.
Yeah.
So you're managing the office.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your wife is, you guys are probably the practice owners together, but she's the boss.
She's the boss. No, she is Dr. Nieva. I think in the 18 years of owning that practice, I think I've said her first name in the practice maybe 4 times. She's the boss.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I think that has to be there for all the reasons,
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long before after you got married, was she in dental school when you guys met?
No, she was out of residency and probably in her second year of general dentistry. She was working in a clinic that was focused on children, called Dental Care for Kids. It was just a great, great public health kind of facility. Really kind of cut her teeth there, no pun intended. So that's kind of where I met her, and then she went into an associateship in various practices. I think most dentists can appreciate how, it has its challenges, associated with being an associate, and kind of working through all that. Eventually one day I just looked at her and I was like, babe, it's time. She's like, I don't want to, I'm scared. I'm like, too bad, it's time. So
that's cool that she had you to be there to recognize it as that outside source. And you kind of grew up owning an office with her and understanding what it takes to open a practice and to manage teams and to go through all the things that an office goes through: turnover, burnout, exceptional days, exceptional months. What has been something that surprised you?
I think one of the things that really surprises me is, and I will say I face this in the fitness world that I operate in also, is just the amount of resistance that people have to sound advice to help them get better. And that is a really challenging one. It's a little easier for an office manager because we're not quite as I think our identity is not really focused on being seen as a good person that people are going to listen to. I think doctors and hygienists, because they're closer to the clinical decision making, it's a lot more challenging for them, because it's like, oh, well, if someone's not listening to what I say is important to them or be beneficial to them, like, they don't trust me. Am I not trustworthy? There's some like emotional, do you know what I'm kind of?
Yeah, they route it back to their worth, or if they're good enough, whether the patient has taken their advice or not. I hadn't thought about that in the sense of self-worth. Interesting.
Yeah. So I find that that's very it's a very complex topic. You could look at it from all the angles, and everybody's angle has got a little bit different sauce on it, if you will. From the dentist and hygienist as a provider standpoint, you've got some of the self-worth characteristics that can be problematic. You obviously have the problems of the patient. They're not able to receive the goodness because they've kind of set boundaries and walls up, and that is problematic. And even from the assistants and the front desk, it's an issue that kind of reverberates throughout the practice life.
Yeah. Wow. That was profound mic drop there, Coach Abe. Yeah. But I mean, really, because I'd never thought about it from that angle where we always wonder why the patient didn't accept treatment, right? We spill our hearts out to people in the back. We show them all the things like a crazy person trying to get them to understand. And then the patient doesn't appoint. They walk out with unscheduled treatment, and it's heartbreaking to us. We feel like, well, I know, I guess I'll speak from experience, is that I feel like there's something else that I could have done for them. And I'll even talk to the front office, the treatment plan coordinator, and say, what did they say? And then I wonder about, how was my handoff? Did we say it enough times for her to understand it? Should we have? And so it's like as I'm thinking through this, it's like a relationship that you're wondering if you're fulfilling it.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard, I can't remember, I saw this, and it really kind of hit me because I definitely consider myself a healer. I think we all should in the dental industry, whether you sit at the front desk or in the back. But that one of the things that healers have to look out for is that oftentimes we provide we're like, we're gonna fix you, and that is like that. Ooh, like time out. That's a high risk statement and belief. What we're really doing is providing an opportunity for them to accept the healing. And, we can't do it for them. It's not something that we can reach into their soul and pluck out the bad,
Right.
It's their opportunity. And it's their responsibility or their opportunity to accept or let that in. And if they're not ready for it, then that's their lesson. You have to think of it as we've actually been able to provide them that lesson, because that will become something that they will be able to use in the future to make change.
Right. You plant the seed.
Yes.
You plant the seed, just like we do in dentistry. And we say, here are the things that I'm seeing. Here's what I would say would be a priority. Mm-hmm. And people then have that autonomy to do that. And I'm guessing too that I know, because I have been this person. We all are this person. And fitness and wellness, when you're the healer, you can only meet people where they are.
Correct.
Right. And you can't. So if we're making that association with people, so I think this is an enlightening point, you all. We can't feel less than because a person may not be ready mentally. It's a gift that you're able to give, to be there for them, to say, hey, I'm here to support you when you're ready to make that change.
Yeah.
We can't take it personal.
You can't take it personal. And you definitely, it's like you have that person that's just like, I'm not going to do SRP. I'm just not going to do it. And, you have, like, what do you do at that point? Just say, get out, beat it. Or are there things that you can do, even though, there's some legal and ethical issues around like what you do at this point. But like, I think regardless of what gets decided, that you must be able to end that situation with an understanding that when you're ready, we're here.
Yeah.
We're ready for you.
And I think too, in that conversation, if you're offering support and guidance and having them understand their beliefs about why they're not doing it too, is it because of fear, pain, money? Yeah. Because if it's money, of course, most offices offer financing, no interest. If that's not something that they can do, have a resource where you can refer them to like a public health clinic or a sliding scale clinic, or to get them on a list somewhere, whatever that is.
That's a good point. I mean, I think that's, dude, I can probably think of a couple situations just the last couple of weeks where patients left the office without scheduling treatment on something that was a little bit more dire, like a root canal or a scaling or root planing. And you wonder to yourself, did anybody ask them, like what was in the way? And, like I'll follow up on some of those sometimes, and they're like, they just didn't want to. And, you're right. That's an excellent question to be asking.
Yeah. I mean, usually I say usually, sometimes people are really vocal about it. Like, I'm not paying that kind of money. Or I know the doctor needs a new car, because I know you guys have a lot of new cars, right?
Oh,
just rolling in them.
Yeah. The Lamborghinis, especially.
Yeah. With all your kids that you guys have.
Yeah. I think our cone beam is the only Lamborghini we have, yeah.
So I love that point. So asking patients, what it is that's keeping them from moving to the next step. How can you support them? What do you think about that? Is what I always say. Give it that pregnant pause to stop talking and to hear them and to listen. So I know that your past, you weren't always. You were always in dentistry in some kind of way, but you were kind of. You're still a big deal, but you were pretty famous with all of your shows and all the things that you've done on a fitness level. Tell us about that and how it's transitioned to where you are now. Like, how are you a healer in that way?
Yeah, it's, boy, if I had to pick one, it would be a tough one. Dentistry and fitness are both like so near and dear to my heart. But I really do love the fitness piece of it, because like in the dental office, I don't get to sit in the clinical side of things. I'm not really involved with any of that. But in the fitness world, I'm the clinician. I really am there at the forefront, seeing people move, listening to their, where do they want to go? What's their backstory? How do I help them? Seeing their movement patterns and being able to be hands-on is so rewarding. I know that you really know what that's like. And, I got into it originally because I was overweight. I think a lot of us can kind of appreciate, like that feeling of like, I think I haven't done anything in like months and months and months. I'm like, I'm going to go for a jog, and then you feel things moving on you that aren't supposed to be moving, I'm jogging and I'm like, I think that's my back fat, like moving up and down. I'm like, that's not good. Something needs to happen. And so I got into it, started working out. My wife made me go to the gym with her, because I was.
Your wife made you go to the gym with her.
Like most people, I before I did anything, I just complained about it. I was like, well, this sucks. I don't like that. Are you going to do anything? No, I'm just going to complain about it. She's like, no, you're going. And I'm like, okay, like a good husband, good boy. So yeah, I went to the gym, and then ended up in a CrossFit gym that she told me to go to. And I fell in love with the coaching that I received there, because it wasn't just about like pumping iron and, getting on the treadmill. There was learning, there was an art process, there was an art behind that became very apparent to me. And I fell in love with that aspect of it. There's a good way to move weights, and there's a less than good way to move weights.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that is the same with real life. We are all, whether we're lifting weights or we're lifting grocery sacks, there's a correct way to move, and helping people do that in the gym, to understand the connection between how we move our body, as an intentional decision is a skill, right? That decision, that the ability to pay attention is a skill that we can move into other areas of our life. And this is where things really started to kind of come together for me, was, I started taking it serious. I had this skill now that I could like put into practice, and I ended up getting very, very good
Hmm.
at lifting. And I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. I'm like, I am actually pretty decent at this, because I was being intentional, and I was learning, I was studying, I was patient, and I ended up going to a master's competition, and became a national champion, in my age and weight class,
Wow.
and made it to Pan Americas 2 years, and qualified for Worlds. And then I tore my quad tendon at a national competition, and that was a huge setback. It was an emotional roller coaster. I have always prided myself on being a very centered and rooted person. I'm gonna tell you, y'all, that took me for a ride.
Hmm.
Um, the connection that I had developed about what I was doing and my worth as a person was destroyed in the blink of an eye. And it took me a while to really feel the wrath. Became depressed, and all of those kinds of things. It's something that we all face at some point in our life. And as I moved through that, and I started to understand that, we don't always get a choice about like the struggles that we're faced with.
Yeah.
We just don't. Some of the stuff is just way out of our control.
Yeah.
Um, and it reinforced the idea that all of this stuff is a process, and we don't always get a choice on these external factors that come in and swirl around our process, but we do have a choice around being in the process.
Hmm.
And I think that's the moment. That is the thing.
Yeah.
I am really just, it's everything. It really is everything. Your decision to be involved in the process is everything. And that's what I'm really focused on right now.
So when you went through that, what do you think helped you come back from it, snap out of it? Was it something you told yourself, something you realized?
Oh man, that's a good question. I was very depressed. When I say very depressed, I mean very depressed. And I'm like in a lot of pain. I've got
Yeah.
pain pills, and I'm like chronic pain. I'm like using gummies, trying to like manage everything, and it just was not, just nothing was not. It was a bad place. And
Yeah.
my dad, who was pretty close to me, he called my brother, I guess, behind my back, and was like, "Hey, call your brother. He's having a hard time." And my brother's a combat vet and had a lot of injuries and back surgeries, and had been through similar types of things as I was currently going through. And so he called me, and he had the just sage advice. And he goes, Abe, you're focused on the things you can't do. That's what you're focused on right now. He's like, you've got to like turn the switch. You've got to like wake up. You got to snap out of it. You've got to stop seeing the things you can't do and start seeing the things you can do.
Mm.
And he's like, I don't care if it's you made it to the kitchen and washed a dish before you had to go lay back down. That was something you couldn't do yesterday.
Wow.
And you just got to start seeing that, like, oh, yesterday I did that something new that I wasn't able to do yesterday.
Yeah.
And you just build on that. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the kitchen and I'm going to wash 2 dishes. And if that's what you can do, then great. That's something
Yeah.
you win. So that was the moment.
That's really good advice, and it truly applies to everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
So you went from that into, I mean, I know that there's a lot more to know. We cover surface level here. What were you seeing in the office that maybe provoked a concern in your eyes? It's just like, man, we're kind of unwell here.
Dude,
What were you seeing?
talk about a whole nother layer of things we could spend, hours on. We just had a whole team meeting for the office, and that was one of my big takeaways with the team is like, dude, guys, dentistry is unwell. It's unwell from compensation levels. It's unwell from ergonomic issues. It's unwell from expectations. It is external and internal. I think one of the big things that really hits me hard in dentistry is that there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to perform at an exceptionally high level. And our reward is walking in to an office every day where we hear, I hate going to the dentist.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like it here. I don't like it. I'm like, what'd I do to you? I'm the nice one. No.
I mean, like, I have friends that are nurses, and like I don't want to say they get to punch the clock. They don't get to, just go in and punch the clock and then leave. But when they leave, there's a lot of stress. So you think about like I think during COVID, you heard a lot about this. When you, like, in your mind, you think of like the factory worker, they punch the clock and they go home, and that's the last thing they think about it. We don't always get to do that. There's a lot of stories about nurses going, like, they punch the clock and it's time to leave, but then they carry that stress home with them.
Yeah.
And it's the same in the dental office. Like, I can't tell you the number of assistants and hygienists and even some doctors, they leave the profession because they can't hang it up.
Yeah.
They take it it's such a burden.
Yeah, they internalize it.
Or even it's like, my wife's good at this one. Sorry, honey. On Instagram or something like, oh, I saw this doctor and they're killing it. Why aren't we?
Comparing.
Oh, man, there's so much in our industry that really, that is in a tough place. But here's the best part is that we're all hardworking, dedicated, caring,
butt kicking
bad mofos. I mean,
yeah.
we're awesome. The people in this industry are amazing, and they possess all the things needed to live a healthy, productive, healing life. We just have to make the choice to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
Right.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
What is that? Well, I know that, I mean, there's a difference, and we're going to speak with our friend Katrina Klein in another episode. She talks about, she's past, bodybuilder. She's got very similar mindset to yours. She is helping folks with ergonomics. And so what is your messaging to the dental practice in terms of fitness and wellness?
Oh, it's everything. I know you've had Uchi on before also. I mean, he, like, the way he talks about food, the way Katrina talks about ergonomics, these are topics that all of us see on a day-to-day basis. There are so many resources for us to use, but most of the time, none of us actually take the step to reach out and say, I need help. My message is, do this. I need help. I hurt. I don't feel good. My body isn't feeling good. I don't feel good after I eat this. My gut isn't good. If you don't raise your hand and go, hey, me over here, you're not part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my message. If your back hurts and you've got carpal tunnel syndrome, dude, you got to look up Katrina. You got to go like this. You got to go, hey, Katrina, my carpal tunnel hurts. What should I do? Yeah.
So you're all about the wellness, because I've seen some of your Instagram posts, which are hilarious, by the way. I mean, Abe put some He put some thought into those where you're like clearing out the cabinets and just talking about the small little, what I call, the 1% differences that an office can make to get the crap out of the break room.
Oh my God, it's killer. Every rep that walks in the door, I'm like, can you please stop sending chocolates and cakes and cookies? Thank you. Yeah. And they're like, well, what should we send? Try some nuts or fruit or beef jerky or something, bro. Like, how about lotion? Just send lotion. Love that. Okay. The lotion. But you can take your cookie cake.
Bath bombs for everybody, like a bath bomb.
Take your cookie.
You're the bomb. You're the bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. But literally, like that kind of stuff, I'm telling y'all, because it's that time of year. I know it's going to show up. I know the reps are bringing it. So give it like, tell everybody like, look, you've got like 4 hours to put this in a napkin and stick it in your purse because I'm throwing this crap out the back door in 4 hours. So
it's so good though.
But it's not.
I know, but it tastes so good. I mean, when I'm coaching in offices, my favorite time of year to coach and to go around to different places, I'm like, oh, that little surgeon is bougie. This is great. Look at this little jelly bean case. That's like margarita flavor. Okay,
now jelly beans, you got me. Okay, the cookie cake, I don't care about, but jelly beans, man, oh man, how do you know? That was my.
I have no idea. That was a real thing where it was a whole case that looked like some type of makeup case, and we opened it up, and it had like it was boutique jelly beans, and it was displayed beautifully. So that, I guess I'm all about the marketing because it could be like a jelly bean that was just on the floor, right? But it was so pretty.
So cute. Did you see it?
You also help folks like learn how to move in the office though, too. Like I know all of us are waiting on a dang doctor check or doctor to do something or front office to do something, or somebody's waiting on us. So how can they spend those precious moments?
I'll tell you two things I think are very not weird, because there are some things that are great, but also can look weird in front of patients. And you're like, what are you doing squats? Like, I get it. Some people are uncomfortable with that. But just putting your arm up on the edge of the 12 o'clock cabinetry or a wall and stretching our pec muscle, because most of us sit like this, working on teeth.
Yeah, like we're hunched.
Yeah, so our body kind of adapts to that and shrinks these muscles up and lengthens these. But we're not strong back here. And so we've got to strengthen those muscles, but stretch these. So we can't strengthen them super well, but we can stretch this part.
Right. Okay.
But the other thing I will tell you is just from like a stress management standpoint, breathing. Like just taking like 3 very conscious breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth.
While you're washing your hands.
I'm telling you what,
while you're cleaning, while you're disinfecting the room, while you're suctioning, while you're whatever.
Emotional hygiene. That oftentimes would be something that is not paid attention to on a daily basis, that I think if we all did, we'd be a lot happier when we clocked out at the end of the day and wanted to go be happy and joyous for all the other people in our life. Yeah.
So people can find you on Insta. You have a website that they can go click and link to.
Yep.
Is it The Coach Abe?
TheCoachAbe.com.
Go on over to his website. He helps offices get well, just like in the overall sense. So it's not only food, it's not only ergonomics, it's mindset, it's motivation, it's like you said, it's everything. Right. And like little stretches, these little things that are the big things that add up into our lives, that, what we do now is what our body thinks is for now and in 30 years.
Yeah.
Right. You're taking care of your future self. And you also, you're taking in that when you are taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your mobility in the dental practice, you're lengthening your career that you love. Maybe there are those days, but you love. So you're investing. It's an investment in all those things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Abe, this has been fun. I know that there's so much more to talk about.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you meet Abe in person, he's one of the most inspirational, motivated people, and very balanced. Even though I know that with what you do day to day, keeping it together at home, keeping it together in the office, and being that husband and work husband, and you're very involved in ADOM as well.
Yeah.
So you're doing all the things to protect and invest in our profession. So thank you for what you're doing for us.
Hey, absolutely. I wouldn't change it for the world. You guys out there, you guys are killing it. Just keep after it. And when you have questions, don't forget, raise your hand and say, hey, I need help.
Yes.
I need help.
Me. Yeah, I need help. Good. That's great advice. Well, you guys can reach Coach Abe in the notes comment. You'll see his contact information there. And you know that I always ask to give a 5-stars, because we've earned it, review on Apple Podcasts. And then if you're on YouTube, go ahead and press that subscribe button and like it so it recommends and the algorithm to other folks who would just LOVE us. Thank you for all that you do and for all the lives that you touch. We will see you again soon. Thanks, Abe.
Bye.
Bye.